This man was on life licence when he killed his lover. Hello there, stranger. This is part 64 of the England's Whole Lifers list, so viewer discretion, as always, is advised. So today I'm going to be telling you about Desmond Lee. Heads up, there really is not a lot of information on this case, so today's story is going to be short and sweet. Desmond Lee was born in 1971, and I've got no information on his childhood or upbringing, so I'm going to jump straight into telling you about his crimes. He was young when his legal troubles began, just 19, but not in the usual way that we're used to seeing in these cases, which would be theft or substance issues. No, when he was 19, Desmond was arrested for murder. It was 1989, and he'd been renting a flat from a 46-year-old woman named Shirley Carr. He was living in that flat with his boyfriend at the time, and this was Desmond's first ever relationship. Unfortunately, as is often the case with 19-year-olds, the relationship did not last, and Desmond's first love went back to his ex-boyfriend. After the breakdown of the relationship, Desmond was with his landlady Shirley Carr when she supposedly taunted him about the breakup, saying that it was his own fault and that it was his drinking issues that had caused it. Desmond smothered Shirley by covering her nose and mouth with his hands until she passed away. And so, of course, what we do know of that day, we know from Desmond Lee. It was him that said that Shirley had been taunting him about the breakup. And obviously, it doesn't matter what she said, she did not deserve to have her life taken. But to be fair, Shirley is not here to defend herself, and we don't know that she did taunt Desmond. Either way, he was sentenced to life for the murder of Shirley Carr and served almost 14 years in prison, being released in 2004. Nearly 5 years later, in 2009, Desmond was visiting a gay sauna when he met 51-year-old married father of two, Christopher Pratt, and the two became acquainted. The pair were acquainted for some months, and then on the 15th of August 2009, Christopher went to visit Desmond at his flat near Dewsbury and would never be seen alive again. Christopher had passed away by having his voice box and a bone in his neck broken. Desmond then stole Christopher's debit and credit cards, paying off his phone bill, buying booze for a neighbour's party. He spent over £200 in a supermarket on food, and then tried to purchase nearly £1,200 worth of goods out of a well-known high street retailer. The day after taking his life, Desmond would put Christopher's naked body into the boot of his own car and then drive out to moorland near Huddersfield, where he would just leave him out in the open. Christopher's body would be found 11 days later on the 26th of August by a person out running. This is just a side note, but I really hope that those people that find the remains of others are offered some form of support, some form of therapy, because I could not imagine. Desmond Lee would be arrested and in October 2009 appeared in court charged with the murder. He would go not guilty until the day the trial was due to start and then admitted, causing Christopher's death. But he said it was not intentional. He claimed that Christopher died in a freak accident during intercourse. Desmond said that they were doing the do when he leaned over the top of Christopher to get to some substances, and that's when the accident occurred that caused Christopher's death. The forensic pathologist said that this was implausible, and the jury of 7 men and 5 women also rejected Desmond Lee's account of what had happened that day and took only a couple of hours to find him guilty of the murder of Christopher Pratt. He was just 39 years old when the judge sentenced him to a whole life order. Usually in England, if a person is out on life licence and they take the life of another person, that would result in a whole life order sentence. Of course, that is not automatically applicable, but usually that is the case. And don't we know it, strangers? Because how many times have we seen that on this list? And look, I'm not saying I believe Desmond Lee by any stretch of the imagination, but if it had been an accident, do you think it's a normal reaction to that kind of accident to then steal the person's bank cards, spend their money and dispose of their remains on moorland? He was already out on life license, and if he knows anything about the law, then of course he maybe would have panicked and thought, well, I'm going to go back to prison for the rest of my life. But would you really think that if you had innocently had an accident with somebody? Would you even know straight away that they were, brown bread? Or do you think that, if it was an accident, that because he was high and he'd been drinking, that he wasn't in his right mind and he thought, well, I've had this accident, it's happened now, so I may as well enjoy what little freedom I have left? I just can't see any logical sort of steps happening to bring you to the point where you try and hide the body and spend all of that person's money, for me. But now I'm just waffling because I didn't have a lot of information to fill up the time. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments. I do think it was intentional, and I think Desmond Lee is where he should be. As always, rest in peace to the victims of this case, Shirley Carr and Christopher Pratt. I haven't got many of these lifers stories left to do now, only around 10 or so. So I just wanted to say, strangers, if you have stayed with me up until now, as always, then thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.